WNYC.com in the original 13th colony, spreading truth, slaying lies, a one-man gang in a war to restore freedom and liberty. Dan Bidondi.
All right, folks, welcome to the Dan Bidondi Show right here, live on 990WBOB.com, home of Renegade Radio. A lot of great shows. As you just heard previous, this show is the David Clyde Wildside Show. Amazing shows we have here. We got The Man of Truth on Mondays live, and we got a bunch of other shows. A great station. But anyway, we got a lot of news to talk about today. But the second half of the hour, we're going to have a special guest, a real good friend of mine, like a brother. He's from Infowars.com. He's one of the nightly news anchors. He's Infowars.com's Darrin McBreen. And most of you all seen him on Infowars as hosting the nightly news show. He does a lot of work behind the scenes as well. But we're going to have him on. And when he comes on, we're going to talk about the whole travel ban with Donald Trump and Bush's appointed Judge Holt and the whole deal. So when he comes on, we're going to talk about that and get the details. Infowars.com, they've been on the queue of everything to do with Trump and everything since the beginning. And that, everybody knows I came out against Trump at first because I didn't know too much about him. I thought he was just another millionaire scumbag, whatever. And, I thought he was a Hillary plant, all that, bad stuff. But they woke me up on a lot of stuff. And a lot of my questions did get answered, especially from Darrin, which I got to thank him a lot for that. And now we're definitely pro-Trump here. And, the guy is amazing, really is. And he's not perfect, but, he's kicking ass. He's kicking globalist ass. And before we get to any of the Trump news, we got a lot of other news to report. And, we're going to talk about Trump's wall, too. I just want to go over that real quick. Let's go over the figures. People yelling and bitching. Oh, it's going to cost $10 billion to support Trump's wall. $10 billion to build a wall. That's a lot of money, yes. But let's not talk about the $113 billion a year we spend on illegal immigrants. So would you rather spend $10 billion or every year plug out $113 billion on illegal immigrants? We got to pay for the health care, food stamps, this, that, and the other thing. They get free luxury housing while our veterans, people, American citizens are homeless out in the streets. They don't get no help at all. But hell, let's, spend $113 billion a year on illegals when only $10 billion could go fund a war. But we're going to get into that other talk later, and we just got a lot of other stuff to cover. I want to go through some miscellaneous news. There's a post going around viral right now on Twitter. It's a cool picture, actually. It's from a Texas daycare. I think it's awesome because if you walk around, look around, you see people. I'm guilty too. I'm not saying I'm innocent on this, but people are drilled, drained, and whatever, zombified by their cell phones. And most of the time on my phone, I'm fighting a new world order, but I'm still not, I'm not innocent. But however, when it comes time for my child, I put my cell phone down and spend time with the child. But this was posted all over a Texas daycare where the people pick up their children. And a nice sign here, again, it's from, just Google it, Texas daycare sign, get off your phone. And it says, you are picking up your child, get off your phone. Your child is happy to see you. Are you happy to see your child? We have seen children trying to hand their parents their work they completed, and the parent is on the phone. We have heard a child say, mommy, 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 and the parent is paying more attention to their phone than their own children. It's appalling. Get off your phone. And I love it. I posted it everywhere. I love it because people need to get off the damn phones. I don't know how many times I almost hit somebody just walking right out in the middle of the street, not paying attention. They got their faces in the phone. And we become a nation of zombies. We really have. And everybody's got their faces plugged in the phone. You're at a bus stop. You're anywhere in public, waiting for a train or plane, whatever. Everybody's in the phone. There's no more social interaction. Of course, everybody's social on social media sites. But in the real world, you say hi to somebody, they just look at you weird. Why is this guy saying hi? When it was a common thing years ago, before cell phones, you had good conversations, met new people, even at a bus stop. Well, that's all going out the window, and the new babysitters have become iPads, tablets. Those are the new babysitters now. Oh, here, just take my phone. Just shut up. Shut up, kid. Go take my phone. But, that's becoming a new baby says. But we need to transition back to that area. Pay attention to your children. Put your phone down. Take the tablets off. Don't even buy a tablet for a kid or an iPhone or any of that. Just how about board games? How about social interaction? Bring them out in the woods. Show them the, nature and everything else. Do stuff like that. But, anyway, we're going to move on to from that because we do get a lot of news to cover. And I just want to send a special congratulations out to the New England Patriots for a historic run. I mean, the third quarter, everybody watched the Super Bowl here. The third quarter, I was like, wow. I was disappointed, but I'm like, you know what? They ain't going out like this. I knew deep down in my gut. And I did not move from that TV where I was at a party. I went to the front where the TV was. I sat there. Probably didn't even blink. Just halfway through the third quarter, I'm like, we're coming back. We're going to win this thing. And they did. And you could just feel that the urge of history on the horizon for Tom Brady just to reach out and grab it. And they did. And special congratulations on that. And the whole thing about this, why I brought this up for, because I know we don't usually cover sports on the show, but when you looked around today, they had the parade in Boston, even in Rhode Island here, and you even had Governor Gino Raimondo, who's a pure Democrat and all that. But it was amazing because for once, okay, for one day, you had all these people of all these political parties and everything else, different races and all that. Everybody was at these events here, and nobody was arguing about politics. Nobody was arguing about Trump or whoever. It was amazing. Everybody was getting along, and everybody was there for the common unity to support the Patriots. And that's why I think it was a good thing that they won, because it just brought everybody to a common ground. Enough of all the stuff. The thing is, everybody's exhausted from all the politics, exhausted from everything that's been going on. The so-called protesters are actually terrorists, but all the stuff going on, for one day, everybody stopped and say, all right, let's get behind a common banner, the New England Patriots. I know it's just a football game, but, I mean, come on, look at back in the 1980s when this country was under real depression. And in 1980, a single hockey game, the United States team defeated the unbeatable Russians. That sparked liberty through the country, unification through the country. And they did that right here in New England. Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, independents, everybody got along for one day at least. It was beautiful. Nobody's yelling about Trump or Hillary or this one or that one. It was beautiful. Everybody, even our governor, they all got along. Everybody was, I mean, it was beautiful. It really was. But we got to shift gears here. We do got to move into politics here. And again, we got Darrin McBreen coming on from Infowars.com and a couple segments from now. And again, do you support Trump's wall? And we put a post up on Twitter here, a little survey, and I think it was well over 80% of people said they do support the wall there. But anyway, I got to move into some miscellaneous news here. You got a super volcano. This is from dailystar.com. It's in the UK. Supervolcano worse than Vesuvius that could kill millions across Europe, ready to blow. And a supervolcano on the brink of blowing threatens to wipe out Europe, kill millions immediately, and bring the world economy to its knees. And around 2,000 years ago, I can't pronounce this name right, but it's Vesuvius, erupted, destroyed the Roman city of Pompeii, and killing an estimated 1,500 people. And
excuse me, Dan, it's Vesuvius.
Vesuvius?
There you go.
Thank you. Vesuvius. I have a bad, especially people's last names, forget it. Vesuvius, okay? And that's awesome. Anyway, today, a far more sinister volcano named Campi Flegrigi, I can't pronounce that either, is lurking underneath Naples in Italy. And shock revealed that last month warned that the big daddy of Vesuvius is showing signs of reawakening and may be on the brink of going off. So that's something you got to keep your eyes on. And this, again, with all the politics going on in the last 6-7 months, man, it's just like that all politics and people are overlooking these little other things as well. That's why we got to keep an eye on everything that's going on. But that could create a lot of chaos, folks. And people say, oh, it's over in Italy, it's over in Europe. There, it's not going to affect us. It will affect everybody. Speaking of travel bans, it'll ban all kinds of travel altogether because planes can't fly in that stuff. Volcanic ash will just shut down the engines and everything else, but just something to not look forward to, but hopefully it doesn't happen, but something to look into and keep an eye on. And scientists create a new kind of matter. It's called the time crystal. And this is University of California. This ushers in a new phase of matter, and people who like science here. To most people, crystals mean diamond bling, gems, and perhaps the jagged quartz crystals beloved by collectors. And if crystals have an atomic structure that repeats in science, the carbon lattice of diamonds, why can't crystals have also the structure that repeats in this time? And that is called a time crystal. And it's pretty interesting. It's just something to go look into if you're into that kind of stuff. And again, just some miscellaneous news here. And documents reveal feds can survey anyone based on a vogue tip. And low-level assessments allowed the FBI to follow people with planes, examine travel records, and run subjects' names through the CIA and the NSA. And it's crazy because we've been telling people how the FBI has been spying on the CIA, the NSA. I mean, openly met with the iPhones and everything else now. And but it's stuff to look into, and we do got to go to break in a minute here. And when we get back, we're going to cover some Trump news here. And real quick, brain-computer device makes it possible for ALS and stroke patients to speak. We're going to cover that real quick when we get back and get to some Trump news. Then we'll have Darrin McBreen on from Infowars.com. We'll be right back on the Dan Bidondi Show. And welcome back to this February 7th, 2017 edition of the Truth Radio Show. I'm sorry, the Dan Bidondi Show. Now, I used to be called Truth Radio before. But anyway, that's my website, truthradioshow.com. The Dan Bidondi Show right here on 990wbob.com. It's funny because when you're in the radio, you go through so many stations, and sometimes you change your title of your show, or you have the same show but different names on different stations. So a lot of times I did that when I was in terrestrial radio. I almost spit out the wrong station identifier, and the producer's like looking at me like ready to cut my throat. But it's you're around a lot in the media here. But I'm happy to have been here since the beginning. When I started radio, I started on an AM station, and Adam here came. He's a head producer here. He came from 990wbob.com, offered me the spot on his Renegade Radio here, and been here since, and very happy. It's an awesome station, and the cool thing is, of terrestrial radio, there's a lot of rules, but here there ain't no rules. That's why I call it Renegade Radio for a reason. And anyway, we talk about a brain-computer device that makes it possible for ALS and stroke patients to speak. This could be a connection breakthrough. This is from Infowars.com. There are several devastating diseases that will make it very difficult or even impossible for patients to continue communicating with their loved ones. However, a new device has made it possible for those locked in to communicate with their friends and family. And the new device here monitors the patient's brain blood oxygen levels, which can help scientists effectively read their minds using technology called near-infrared I have a bad time pronounce words sometimes, but anyway, spectroscopy. Oh man, I sound like an idiot, man. I tell you, but that's the thing about this alternative media. We're not perfect speakers at all. We're not like the dumbed down mainstream media who could speak, eloquently, speak perfectly and all that, but they're mindless. They have no thought of their own, and they read from a teleprompter. And so, but anyway, this device here sounds pretty cool. And to those who took part in an experiment to test out the device, suffer from what's known as locked-in syndrome, meaning they have lost all ability to move except for blinking one eye or both eyelids. And it goes over a person's head like a swim cap, and its senses can detect changes within the brain's blood levels. So that's pretty cool. In the last article here for miscellaneous news, study says obese couples struggle to conceive. It can be up to 60% more difficult obese couples to conceive. And that's how it happens. You'll read ahead here. Anyway, obese couples looking to have a baby, they want to consider their waistline first, as a new study from the National Institute of Health has revealed that when both parents are overweight, it can be incredibly difficult for them to conceive naturally. And well, the thing is, we're going to get into this because we're going to have a whole show on this, because it's not only because people are obese, and the reason why people are obese because of the GMOs, and yes, chemtrails, and I said it because there's a lot of whack job trolls out there. You mentioned chemtrails, all that, blah, 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 blah. And, it's in government documentation. The government, I wrote an article on it, Infowars.com. I think it's information for the chemtrail skeptic. It's got all the government all the even legislation. There was the Space and Preservation Act of 2010. If you want to go read that, I mean, that's crazy. But all the geoengineering, the chemical spraying, the dumbing down of society is causing infertility. It's part of the United Nations Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, we call it, and also eugenics. And the guy ragged on because I mentioned eugenics to somebody, but the thing is, if you don't believe in eugenics, folks, you don't know history. And it's to dumb down the population, it's to squeeze the population down to a certain number. And the UN openly calls all the time to reduce the world's population. And I'm not going to get into that, but we're going to get into a whole show about that. The geoengineering, the whole 9 yards, because it's taking a bad effect on the entire planet. And I hope to God that Donald Trump does something about that. Goes after and looks into this geoengineering, which is a bad thing going on in this country. Probably one of the leading causes of respiratory problems and everything else. We're going to move on to some Trump news here. And first was Edward Snowden. Everybody knows him as the whistleblower from the NSA. And the guy's a hero to me. He is a pure hero. He's not a traitor. He did his job. And then we have a Whistleblowers Act that is supposed to protect whistleblowers. Anyway, Edward Snowden's lawyer, we hope for clemency from Trump. Why should Trump pardon Snowden? This is Infowars.com, Jamie White. Edward Snowden hopes that President Donald Trump will soon drop the case against the NSA whistleblower and allow him to return to the United States, says Snowden's lawyer. And we hope that very much that the new U.S. president will show some weight and approach to the issue and make one of the correct decisions to stop prosecution against Edward Snowden. And Snowden's Russian lawyer told Russia media today on Tuesday. And we should allow this man back into his country. He did his job. The guy is a hero. And when Mr. Trump, if you can ever hear this, you should definitely pardon Edward Snowden and give him a medal, some kind of Medal of Honor or a real Service Heroes Award, not like people like Joe Biden, people who don't deserve these awards that Obama's just handing out left and right when he was president. None of these people deserved any awards except for going to jail. But Edward Snowden's a real hero. This man deserves a hero's welcome when he comes back home. And I hope Trump looks into this as well. And Milo under siege by anarchists and seditious millennials. The anti-fascists engage in the textbook fascism in an attempt to shut down the free speech of a gay conservative. And John Bowen of Infowars.com, which actually we're going to have him on the show in probably the next few weeks or so. And Milo Yiannopoulos, the campus of UC Berkeley, and the First Amendment are under siege. And Wednesday night, this was a couple weeks ago, a protest against the scheduled 8 p.m. speech of libertarian gay activist and Breitbart technology editor turned out violent. Spiraling to a shelter-in-place ordered by campus officials, UC Berkeley released a statement regarding the events. The violence was instigated by a group of about 150 masked agitators who came onto the campus and interrupted otherwise the nonviolent protests. And the decision was to cancel the event was made about 6 p.m. The officers read several disbursement announcements to the crowd of more than 1,500 protesters who gathered outside the student union. And where this guy's supposed to speak here, but immediately was escorted from the building and left the campus, which caused a big riot over there. And of course, the leftist media didn't put that out there. Didn't just show that these people were actively engaging in violence and terrorism. They were attacking Trump supporters viciously, hitting them with flags and poles and everything else, attacking them because they like Trump. And they call this protesting. No, that's terrorism. And that's where the police should get involved and start going to shoot these son of a bitches in the face with some kind of a beanbags or something. Because these people are getting out of control. But yet, when you have a peaceful protest, the police will come in, gas everybody, the peaceful protesters, like the World Trade Organization. Nobody had nothing but paper signs, and they strangled this lady. There was a famous picture of that on the internet. They strangled this old lady because she had a sign. But yet, people going around rampant, breaking windows and everything else, and oh, no, they're protesters, let them alone. No, they're terrorists, not protesters. But we got to go to break in about a minute. When we get back, we're going to have my buddy Darrin McBreen on, Infowars.com nightly news host, and we're going to talk about the whole travel ban, and the controversial travel ban. That's because now you got a judge who's halting the whole project now, and that's going against, which is treason, going against President Donald Trump's orders. And it's like we're going to try to bring up George Soros, that's involved with this too, funding a lot of the stuff. And I mean, folks, we are living in a sick society right now. But on the light side, we do got a lot of good things going on. We are taking headwind. We get the upper ground, and we're kicking the crap out of the New World Order. Anyway, we'll be back on the Dan Bidondi Show with Darrin McBreen from Infowars.com. All right, we are back on the Dan Bidondi Show at 990WBOB.com, and we're just going to be, probably a minute, be joined with Darrin McBreen from Infowars.com. And I want to get to a couple of these people just bashing Trump. I mean, Howard Stern just making false statements about Trump. Then you got Robert De Niro. I still want to punch Donald Trump in the face. Arnold Schwarzenegger says, I want to smash him in the face. You know what I mean? You got these top celebrities going out bashing Trump, and they're all pure left libtards. You great actors, much respect for their acting jobs, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Robert De Niro, great actors. But that's where the respect stops. Other than that, these people are pure liberal, brainwashed, Nazi zombified idiots. To say, and the thing is, like people like them and Madonna, they're all like, oh, I'm going to do this for publicity. Oh yeah, I'm going to, quote unquote from Madonna, not me. I'm going to, I thought about blowing up the White House, whatever she said, and all these celebrities coming out trashing Donald Trump. And where's the promises? They all said they're going to move when Trump became president. They said, we're going to leave the country. Well, why ain't you moving? Go, screw, get the hell out of here. We don't want you here. Yeah, these people suck in the first place, so we don't want you here. You're overpaid. So, I mean, it's pure disgusting, man, I tell you. And, you have George Soros behind a lot of this stuff, too, funding these huge activist groups. And I talk to a lot of these people, oh, I'm not getting a paycheck from Soros. No, you're not, but your leaders are. The people who are actively leading your organizations are. That's where all the stuff, the stuff to get for science and everything else, and they get actively paid. I mean, they had things on Twitter and everything, those job postings like Craigslist and everything to get paid full time for actively protesting against Donald Trump. I mean, you have the left, the whole New World Order is attacking Trump. I mean, out of nowhere, man, I tell you. And every way you look, I mean, you got some celebrity, some singer or something just viciously attacking Mr. Trump. And do we got Darrin on the phone? Oh, he's calling right now? Okay. Yeah, so we're going to be joined by Darrin McBreen in about a couple seconds from now. And this is Darrin McBreen from Infowars.com, great friend of mine. And how you doing, brother?
Fantastic, Dan. Good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, I hear that, brother. And I know you've been busy, and I appreciate from the bottom of my heart of you taking time out to come on the show here. And especially, I know you want to talk about this whole travel ban thing going on, the controversy going on right now. You got a judge blocking it, which is unconstitutional. And it's sickening, really is.
Oh yeah, the judge. It was a week after Trump's travel ban order. A federal judge issued a temporary restraining order. Remember, he lifted the ban. It was a big victory for the Democrats and the social justice warriors and all the anti-Trumpers who want open borders. But Trump's not giving up. In fact, I'm watching right now. I've got Fox News, and I also asked the writers at Infowars to text me as soon as they hear something. But as we speak, there is an appeals court that is expected to rule on President Donald Trump's travel ban. So at any minute, we might hear something. I'll let you know. But basically, I have a feeling this looks like a liberal type of appeals court. My guess is that they're going to side with the lower court's decision to lift the travel ban. And in that case, this is going all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Absolutely, and that could be a lot of trouble too, because if they open that window for that amount of any amount of time, I mean, they could, as we all know, I mean, we're not saying all the immigrants are bad people, but we know a lot of ISIS sympathizers, a lot of people in ISIS and these other extremist groups flood in the gates through as refugees, as immigrants and everything else. So, I mean, that could spell a lot of danger.
No, it's not an immigration. It's more like an invasion, and this is the same thing what we're seeing in Europe. It's going on in France and Germany and Sweden. And just remember, Trump's travel ban, it's not a Muslim ban. Okay, we're talking about failed states with ties to terrorism, right?
Yep.
So, it suspends entry of all refugees who want to resettle in the United States. But this is a temporary ban of only 120 days. Unless you're a refugee from Syria, they are banned permanently, and I think that's a very good idea. So it also prohibits citizens from Iraq, Syria, Iran, Sudan, Libya, Somalia, Yemen, from entering the U.S. for 90 days. But again, these are failed states with ties to terrorism. This travel ban protects Americans, and it gives authorities time to regroup, to regroup and kick ass, as they say, because they need to rethink how to better vet these migrants who want to come. And it makes perfectly good sense. We see what's going on in other countries, and we see what's happened here in America too. There's people there that want to hurt us, and Trump is trying to protect America.
Oh, of course, the mainstream media will never show you that, but I tell people all the time, go to networks, websites from networks like BritainFirst.com, I believe, one of the websites there. Basically, other websites and networks that show what's really going on all through Europe. I mean, Paul Joseph Watson reports this all the time, shows videos. A Muslim migrates anally, rapes teenager, and gets 2 months in jail. I mean, they're having problems all over Europe. Because
you're talking about what happened in Sweden, and you're right, because this should have been on the news media, but it hasn't been. But the Swedish court, they sentenced it was a Muslim migrant. I think this guy he got 2 months in jail after being convicted of raping a 13-year-old girl. So he was allowed in the school system, and I know that he grabbed her and locked the bathroom door. And I don't want to get into details. I didn't even want to know about it. You know what I mean? But it was obviously very traumatic, and he got caught in the act. And what's weird though is he only got a few months probation because of his age. They said because he was 17 years old, like that's an excuse. But here's the other thing. He has no documentation to prove how old he is. So he might be 19 or 20 for all we know. So it just shows you how, the Swedish government, obviously, they are not cooperating with the will of the people. And, and they're also the ones that, I don't know if you saw it. I know we played on Infowars. The Swedish government, they ran political ads featuring Muslims with the message of, get used to it. This is your new culture. Be a good citizen and embrace the Muslim refugees, embrace the Muslim culture, because that's where things are heading, and you might as well get used to it. And it reminds me of the subliminal ads we just saw here in America during the Super Bowl over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, that was nuts. The pushing the feminist movement. It was disgusting, all these ads.
Good game, though.
Oh, yeah, I loved it. I was just talking about earlier.
I know you were happy, right?
Oh, yeah. Me and Joe Biggs, we love the Patriots.
Oh yeah, Biggs. He told me it was an emotional roller coaster. It was. I'm still. It still hasn't hit me yet. But Paul Joseph Watson even wrote an article on a second Swedish police officer blows the whistle on the migrate crime cover-ups. And, of course, our mainstream media, like we're saying, is definitely covering all the stuff up. They're not showing the public what is at stake here. I mean, could you imagine, Darrin, right now, and people don't know what's going on all over the world, hundreds of thousands of these people just flood into the streets, raping people, killing people, going on all over Europe, but our mainstream media refuses to cover this, and we have our politicians saying, oh, no, they're good, peaceful people. Yeah, and in Sweden, and I know, like you said, there's police officers who are blowing the whistle, and these guys are coming out. I mean, because come on, man, and there's good people there that are trying to protect their families and their citizens, and this is going on. My good friend Larry Pinckney, who's a former member of the Black Panther Party, he used to love Sweden, and I thought it was kind of funny. He said, Darrin, the reason why I like Sweden so much is there's no black people. And I said, okay, that's weird, but I kind of understand what he means is, see, he goes there, he's the only black person and amongst this culture, and he likes the culture because it's different. Just like when you come to Texas, it's the Latino people here are fantastic, and you want to have steak and barbecue, and you know what I mean, and be part of that Texas culture with country music, but in Sweden with this huge. It's an invasion of all these Muslims, and they're not like the people of Sweden. It changes the culture, and that's what will happen to America. There's Muslim ghettos all throughout Europe, and that's what they call them, ghettos. They also call them no-go zones. Remember when Watson and Joe Biggs went to try to go to Brussels?
Yep.
They got chased out of there because they were, Americans or white. And there's people in France. There's women who lived in France. They're native French women who went into Paris and the no-go zones or the Muslim ghettos in Paris undercover with hidden cameras. And you should look that up. I mean, those women got chased out of there. And it's like every other Muslim person they ran into, what the hell are you doing here? Get out. You're a woman. Get out.
I was watching some videos.
That's what we could expect here in America, and it's usually the second, third generation Muslims that are here. So it's not only worrying about a Trojan horse, ISIS disguised as a Syrian refugee, which is a very true threat, by the way, but we also worry about just the slow effect of changing our culture by allowing them in. And of course, we're built on immigration, and we always will be, and we're very proud of that. We love the diverse cultures in America. Every red-blooded American, I think, could agree to that. But what we don't want is people here that don't like us, people here that hate Christians, people here that don't like the Constitution, and they're here to change this country into something that we will not recognize.
Exactly, and you look into Sharia law. I tell everybody, don't take my word for it. Go study it for yourself. Every country under the Sharia law is an exact contradiction to what our Constitution stands for. Women have no rights. Gays get killed dead on the streets in public, to make public examples out of them. Women can't drive. They can't vote. The men are allowed to beat them, and this is all under the Sharia stuff here. And people going like these marches we've seen. I was down at the one in Providence, and they had speakers from Islam trying to recruit people, say, we're for women's rights, we're for the LGBT. And I'm like, no, they're not. And I woke up a lot of women there that were for women's rights and the LGBT. It's like, no, they're not at all. It's like, they are not for women's rights. Go read the doctrines for yourself. But we're seeing a pure invasion, like you said.
Oh, they're going around chanting "Death to America."
Yep.
I mean, these are not good people. So, yeah, it's a very scary situation, and like I said, they're going to have this ruling pretty soon that Trump might take this all the way to the Supreme Court. He's not going to give up.
No.
And most of the people from those countries that are banned, they are Muslim. But if the Trump administration wanted to ban Muslims, if it was just a religion thing and he was just, against the Muslim religion, there's plenty of other Muslim countries to pick on. I mean, he could have banned Muslims from Egypt, from Turkey, from Lebanon, or Saudi Arabia, which I would have agreed with that. I think Saudi Arabia should definitely be on that list.
Yeah, definitely.
But those countries are not on the list, so it's not just about banning Muslims. And I got to laugh at the liberal logic that I've actually heard liberals say this, that we better let these nice Muslims in our country, or some of them might get angry, and then they will try to hurt us. So in other words, Trump is creating terrorists by keeping them out of the country. So if you won't let them in, they're going to get mad, and then they're going to get angry, and then they'll become terrorists.
Unbelievable, man. Their logic is so far-fetched. I can't comprehend them sometimes. The stupid things that come out of their mouths.
And you know what, though? I don't even want to just pick on the Democrats, because I forgot, also establishment Republicans like John McCain and Lindsey Graham, they're saying the same thing.
Yep.
And these are the two guys who helped Obama and Hillary arm and train ISIS so they could take out Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. So, they're all in together. And I don't know if you heard about this, but guess what we just found out? And this is something I suspected for a very long time. It turns out that both Senator Graham and Songbird McCain were both funded by leftist billionaire George Soros.
Yep, and this guy's been the mastermind and the financier, I should say, behind all this terrorism. I call it terrorism, not protesting. Terrorism that's going around across the country. But we got to go to break, Darrin, if you want to hang out for one more segment with me.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And this is the Dan Bidondi for the Dan Bidondi Show, joined with Darrin McBreen, host of Infowars Nightly News on Infowars.com. We'll be right back on the Dan Bidondi Show. All right, folks, this is the last segment of the Dan Bidondi Show right here in February 7th, 2017 edition of the Dan Bidondi Show on 990WBOB.com. We got joined with us, a good friend of mine, and I got to thank him so much because everybody knows I came out against Trump for a while at first, and Darrin McBreen here, he's one of the people, one of the main people that helped wake me up about Donald Trump, and he answered a lot of questions I'd had and a lot of misinformation I had at first that he straightened out, and I am more happy, never been so happy to be wrong in my life, and I thank Darrin. I thank you a lot, brother, for waking me up on this, and now I'm 110% behind Trump, and thanks to you mainly. And Darrin, we were just talking about, we found out that George Soros was linked to the group behind the call to arms at the Milo Berkeley event as well. And so, your thoughts on Soros here, and what can we do to stop this guy?
Soros is public enemy number one. And his rap sheet just goes from the time he was 15 years old selling out his own Jewish people to the Nazis when he collaborated with the Nazis in World War II and basically helped steal property from his own Jewish people, But he ended up being a billionaire. He's been a billionaire for a long time. And, most people like the Black Lives Matter movement, for example. Black Lives Matter was created and funded by a rich old billionaire white guy, right? And most people don't know that. But anywhere there's destabilization in a region, George Soros is likely the guy behind it. And we were talking about the Muslim invasion, that tsunami of refugees that are coming out of those war-torn countries. And those are funded by George Soros. He's spending millions of dollars to basically flood Europe, with the Muslim refugees. So he's an evil man. I think before Trump's done with his presidency, and I have a feeling that he will be arrested. Hopefully, he is a globalist. He wants the destruction of America. He wants open borders. He's a pro-UN guy, and he's spending millions of dollars. Every week you hear something about George Soros, and like just this week, one of Hillary Clinton's top lawyers joined one of the Soros super PACs to stop voter ID in America. And, so how does that make me a racist if I want voter ID? Of course we want voter ID. And Soros is spending millions of dollars, like $17 million on these legal challenges to allow, or keep allowing, I should say, illegals to vote in several states. So this guy is bad news for America. He's definitely unpatriotic, and he wants the destruction of the United States of America. He's one of the guys, I cannot stand George Soros.
Oh, yeah. I have calling him a scumbag is the nicest thing I can say about this guy. And right on Infowars.com, we showed tons of videos of how, without voter ID, I think was it the Veritas Project? You guys showed they were going undercover.
No, those guys are great. Yep.
Going undercover in different voting places, several voting places, say they were Eric Holder or something, and they were actually given the voter cards to go vote without showing ID.
And they said this is common practice, and they would bust people in, and Democrats have been doing this for a very long time. They admitted it on camera. But they would, and it's something, of course, we suspected all along, but they bust people in so they could vote in several different states. Dead people are voting. And so this is, I always said that my mom voted Republican her entire life until the day she died. And then she started voting Democrat. So these are crooks, and George Soros is behind it, and behind a lot of it. And I don't know, there's another, and I always call it liberal logic because it just makes no sense, but they're proud of it. Like in California, it's the president of the California State Senate. His name is Kevin De Leon, and he proudly told reporters this week that using fake Social Security numbers is not a problem. And he said that, and he's bragging. He's like, hey, man, half my family are in the U.S. illegally, and they're in possession of false documents. It's like everybody's doing it. Come on, we all do this. So, and he made this comment to reporters as he introduced a bill that will designate California as a sanctuary city state for illegals. And this, of course, this is openly and proudly going against the will of most of the American people, and of course Donald Trump, who said in his campaign, he made a campaign promise, no more sanctuary cities, followed by executive order to try to do the same thing. So this guy, this libtard, is up there bragging, and like, well, you know, of course we got false documents, of course we have security number, and you know, it's illegal, man. It's illegal. But these guys are so they just think like, hey man, they're above the law, and they just brag about it openly to reporters. I just couldn't believe it when I heard about that.
Wow, it's like a criminal say, hey, I went and robbed the bank this morning. I used the 9mm or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, these people are out of their minds. I mean, we got Hillary Clinton 2.0. That's Rhode Island State Governor Gina Raimondo, and Providence Mayor Lorenzo doing the same, openly saying, we're going to harbor illegals. We're not going to obey Donald Trump. Rhode Island's going to become a sanctuary city and state, you know, Providence and Rhode Island, whatever, and openly stating we're going to commit crimes. You know what I mean? And the thing is, if me and you said anything in that sort, like we're doing illegal things, we would be arrested.
Yeah, and then there's a showdown going here in Texas where Greg Abbott, our governor, and a sheriff, I forget her name, but it was a local sheriff, she says that she will not arrest and she will not turn over criminals.
Wow.
Because, you know, he's got 2 to 3 million criminal illegal immigrants that are getting deported immediately. And I don't mean criminal. They're already criminals for being here illegally.
Yeah.
But no, we're talking hardcore criminals, guys with from the least offense of, 2 or 3 DUIs to auto theft to rape and murder. And she says this woman sheriff, her name escapes me right now, but she says that if they are wanted for murder, that she'll turn them over. But if they're gang members and rapists and everyone else gets to stay because that's racist, right, to want to kick them out of the country. So this is the kind of nut jobs we're looking at. I mean, these people are freaking insane. Liberalism is truly a mental disorder. I mean, they're absolutely out of their minds. But here's the thing, and I've said this on the air before, and when you think about it, when you think about the way the liberals are acting, when you think about the 68-plus Democrats who boycotted the inauguration, they're making fools out of themselves in the eyes of most Americans, right? When these social justice warriors and these spoiled-ass college kids go out there and riot, and then when these other guys burn down their own cities and protest, that is largely why Trump got elected to begin with. Because the average American saw that and said, look, I'm against that. I don't want anything to do with that. We have to fundamentally change this country quick. We can't allow these libtards to take over. And so the thing is the liberals don't learn, man. They don't learn. They're still rioting. They're rioting and protesting now more than ever. But every time they do it, I say it's a blessing in disguise, because every time they pull some crap like they did in Berkeley last week, it just brings hundreds of thousands of people over to our side, right?
Definitely does.
So we are recruiting more and more Americans every day who have had enough of it. And I'll give you an example. We're talking about Berkeley. Milo was supposed to speak before, if he's lucky, maybe like 200 people, right, on the Berkeley campus.
Yep.
They got butthurt. They didn't want the First Amendment. They want to shut down free speech. They call it hate speech. They shut it down with the backing of all the faculty and staff and everybody in charge at Berkeley. And they threw a fit. You saw it. They set cars on fire. They looted stores and they,
attacking
and
people.
They hurt people. They physically attacked people. The whole thing. National television. So in the process, Milo, they stopped him from speaking. But what happened? Milo ends up. He gets a national audience. Now the whole world's watching. He ends up on Tucker Carlson for like 2 nights in a row. Everybody's listening to what he has to say, and it resonates with people. Most people are like, hey, man, this guy makes a lot of sense. So do you see what they did, these liberals, by protesting and rioting? They really defeated their whole purpose by trying to shut him down. They just gave him a bigger platform. They did the same to Trump. In fact, I'll say this. The Berkeley incident could be a political ad for Donald Trump's 2020 campaign.
Exactly. And you know what? Liberty prevails. Liberty prevails, brother, but we got like 30 seconds left in the show, and I would thank you from the bottom of my heart taking time out of your busy life to come on the show, and I'll be in touch with you. And how can people get a hold of you? What's your stuff, I mean?
Hey, you know what? Go to my Facebook page. I got a lot of people following me on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter, Media Rival. It's at Media Rival. And thank you, Dan. I love you.
Love you too, brother.
And Janice, my woman says hi. And,
what's up, Janice?
Just say hi to your audience. And long live the Republic!
Yeah, 1776. And thank you, Donald.
Right.
Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, Darrin McBreen, for being on. And, thank our president for just kicking the New World Order's ass. Dan Bidondi for the Dan Bidondi Show. Long live the Republic, 1776. See you next week. God bless. Defending liberty in the spirit of 1776. It's Dan Bidondi on TruthRadioShow.com.